Sometimes I watch WWE RAW and I get very confused because it's like having a friend who comes up to you and gives you a hug. And you're like, oh, I love this hug. It's so comfortable. And then said friend smashes you right in the face. You're like, what's going on? I don't understand. 1 minute I was having a nice time and now I'm really confused and nobody is giving me an explanation for anything. As I've said time and time again, it's like a roller coaster, but I guess in some fashion, I always have a rollicking good time. But my name is Simon Miller. Welcome to WhatCulture Wrestling. And if you're brand new here, you have tuned in to Raw Ups and Downs, the show where we give the good bits an up, that gets a tick, and we give the bad bits a down, that gets a cross, and we do it just using a hand. And you thought it was just for writing nonsense on a piece of paper. Let's up those downs. Brock Lesnar and his pet Paul Heyman were out to start Raw this week, and while it was their usual stuff is usually quite good. Give it up. With Super Showdown out the way and the Elimination Chamber pay-per-view meaning less than the Intercontinental title, it is time to start getting excited about WrestleMania, but unfortunately, Mr. Heyman didn't agree because he thinks our Scottish psychopath is nothing more than a fraud. Because look, if we go back to the Royal Rumble, how did Drew eliminate Brock Lesnar? Well, firstly, Lesnar got hit in the testicles by Ricochet, and he'd already gone through half the WWE roster at this time, so it was easy pickings for McIntyre, who just so happened to kick him out of the ring. Also, the highlight here is that when Paul Heyman did say Brock's testicles, Lesnar nodded his head and went, yeah, my testicles. Basically, Drew is not going to be able to beat Lesnar, and then Paul called him a big stupid bitch or something like that. And at that very moment, Drew McIntyre's music hit, and he came out into the arena, because I can only presume he was like stood behind the curtain going, no, that's all right, I don't mind that. No, that's cool. Oh, he called me a big stupid bitch. Out I go. And also, if you didn't think that WWE is taking Drew McIntyre very seriously, well, you, my friend, are mistaken, because all he did here was walk down the rampway, getting to the ring, stared Brock Lesnar down. Lesnar did his usual, I'm gonna kick your ass. But when he went to attack him, he wasn't able to, because Drew is too smart, and he Claymore kicked Brock right in his face. Lesnar stole this like he'd lost his brain too, but it only got worse, because after he had stumbled back up to the top of the ramp, Drew McIntyre appeared again from the backstage area, and you know what he did. He Claymore kicked him again, but that still wasn't enough. He saw that Brock was getting up, he was like, all right, you son of a diddly, and he Claymore kicked him again. The audience went nuts for this. The Drew experiment is definitely working right now, and clearly Brock is involved because he doesn't mind selling like this for McIntyre. And I tell you, if we do everything right at WrestleMania, Drew McIntyre will finally have his place on the throne, and he will be a damn good WWE champion. Also, if you want a little bit of fun, go back and watch the end of this segment, and you can hear Brock Lesnar shout at Drew McIntyre, pick up the belt, because I presume Drew forgot that he was meant to hold that title aloft. This was a very, very good opening to the show known as Monday Night Raw. The Street Profits then won the tag team titles. I mean, throw a fish into my face and call me Pete, because did I get that wrong? Well, I'm always happy to be proved wrong when the outcome is so right. Give it up. This was like everything you don't expect from WWE too, because they kept it short, it was really fun, it was really entertaining, and it tied into all the other stories that you would presume when the Street Profits were taking on Seth Rollins and Buddy Murphy. Every time. Just Murphy. Because basically, when the tag team champions at the time were in trouble, they summoned the AOP to the ring. But the referee was like, nah, dudes, you ain't allowed to get in here. I know what you're up to. But then during the fracas, Kevin Owens appeared from nowhere. He hit Seth Rollins with a stunner, who sold it wonderfully, by the way. Then Montez Ford climbed to the top rope, hit him with that incredible frog splash. He got the 1, 2, 3, and yeah, brand new tag team champs. And sure, it would have been better if they had won clean, but who cares about that, because this now builds Kevin Owens and Seth Rollins. Finally, we can tell the audience, please take the Street Profits seriously. They're not just a couple of dudes who goof off backstage. Plus, it only went 6 minutes. I'm not saying that tag matches like this shouldn't go longer, but it was so quick. Like I said, it's like an injection of fun right into your fun gland. And sometimes the fun gland doesn't really get massaged that much on Monday nights. Murphy and Rollins were livid afterwards and demanded to have a rematch at the Elimination Chamber, but surely that's not going to happen, because I remember WWE told us that we're not going to do automatic rematches anymore. And of course, before the end of the night, we found out that yes, this match is going to go down at the pay-per-view and it's going to be a no DQ. And Seth also looked into the camera and said, Kevin Owens, anytime, anywhere, any stipulation, it's going to be you and me. And then very worryingly finished it off with, I'm going to crucify you. Now, I'm sure this is going to be the WrestleMania 36 match. But when it comes to a stipulation, WWE, please, for the love of everything, I get down on my knees. Get down on my knees. There you go. I'm on my knees. You can't even see my head anymore, or you can't see my body. But please, 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 do not do a crucifixion match. I will give you whatever I want. Whatever you want, I'll give it to you. I can't even get my words out. I will give it to you. Please, please, please don't do this. Raw then crashed into a wall. I mean, what did Ricochet do? And I like Riddick Moss, don't get me wrong. I'm sure Riddick Moss is a really, really nice guy. But did Ricochet walk in and see somebody naked? Because he went from being absolutely owned by Brock Lesnar at Super Showdown on Thursday to losing to Riddick Moss in the 24/7 title match on Raw. Somebody send me the rule book, because I am damn confused. Give it a down. He just gave him a net breaker for the win too. That was that. Clean as a whistle. And again, Riddick Moss, he seems like a good guy. He's got a movie named after him, so I guess he's doing well in life. But what is going on with the old superhero? I can't work it out. Like, there was a time when he was kind of being pushed, and I suppose, he was the number one contender for a little bit. Just gonna stare off into space and try and figure it all out. And what's the plan from here? I guess Zack Ryder will just beat him next week. Why the hell not? Hell, bring me in. I'll beat him. Bald asshole that nobody knows who the hell he is beats Ricochet. And even then the crowd will be like, yeah, probably makes sense, because Ricochet never wins. It's rare I do this too, because I think AJ Styles is an absolute king. I did not think we went in the right direction with him and Alistair Black, and therefore down. He was out with the OC to cut a promo, and obviously he was really mad at The Undertaker, because not only did he steal his trophy at Super Showdown, but he also feels like his time in the limelight is gone. It's AJ Styles' time to shine, and this old man needs to go away. He also got mad at Mark Wahlberg, because for some reason Mark Wahlberg was on the big screen telling AJ that he should walk away from all this, and while moderately entertaining, still very confusing. Why is Mark Wahlberg telling me about AJ Styles versus The Undertaker? We then turn to the events on this evening though, and of course that was the very much hyped match between Alistair Black and Styles, but of course in true Raw fashion, we didn't get it, because instead AJ made Alistair look like an absolute schlub when he went, you stupid idiot, you didn't read the contract, did you? The only way you get to face me is if you beat the toughest man in the building first. And apparently the toughest man in the building, I guess we pulled straws, was Carl Anderson. So we got Carl Anderson versus Alistair Black instead of that. Obviously, Alistair did away with him with the black mask, but you could just see what was coming from a mile away. Like, I was in Australia, and these guys were in America, and I could still see it. He then had to go through Luke Gallows, and do you know how Luke Gallows did? He just beat Alistair Black up so much the ref went, I actually think you've beaten him up a little bit too much, so I'm gonna disqualify you, you naughty boy. It was like Deontay Wilder versus Tyson Fury, and quite frankly, made Alistair Black look like an absolute div. So it did still count as a win, but this referee is terrible at his job, because despite disqualifying Luke Gallows because he'd beaten up Alistair Black too much, he went, well, yeah, you can still fight AJ Styles if you want, I don't see a problem with that. And of course, AJ beat him really easily. And not only that, he hit him with the phenomenal forearm and pinned him like The Undertaker does. So he did the thing with the hand, he stuck his tongue out. I mean, poor Alistair Black, he felt like a third wheel on a date. I hope I'm wrong, but this just screams that Alistair is in the way and we need to push him to one side, but we still have a story to catch up on. I don't know, maybe this turns into a triple threat match at WrestleMania, but that would be awkward too, because that doesn't make any sense. Ugh, I don't even get it. And yeah, these two are going to have a match at the Elimination Chamber, the forgotten child of every single pay-per-view that's ever happened in the history of the world. And I actually think I've made a mistake. I think it's this that is the no DQ match, and the tag match isn't a no DQ match, but maybe it is. I don't know. WWE didn't seem to give two shits about the Elimination Chamber from start to finish. I'm baffled. I mean, this was like expecting you're going to get a Super Nintendo for Christmas, and you open the packaging, and it's a Sega Mega Drive. Ruby Riott then told us in an interview with Charlie Caruso that there'll be no friends in the Elimination Chamber. Thanks, Ruby. Appreciate it, because before you said that, I thought all the cage doors were going to open and you were going to sit down in the middle of the ring and just share some tea and share some stories about when you were tiny little children. Ridiculous. I mean, this poor pay-per-view, it feels like the relationship I have as the second son with my parents. Forgotten. That is a joke. Love you, Mum and Dad. And then, what? In case you were still invested in the now defunct Riott Squad and what they may do at the pay-per-view, WWE just went, meh, we'll just do a match on Raw, and we'll do Ruby Riott versus Liv Morgan, and for some reason, Sarah Logan will be the damn referee. And of course it ended with the most devastating move in all of sports entertainment, because we can't come up with any other creative finishes when we're not sure exactly what to do. I mean, Ruby Riott and Sarah Logan got into it, so Sarah Logan pushed her. Then Liv Morgan got the roll up, got the 1, 2, 3, bring my counter down. That is now 12 by the end of 2020. This is going to be over 100. There is no two ways about it. Also, this is getting a down. Logan did do a fast count here as well, but does anybody actually care? If you do, please call me at 0800 Simon. I do actually care. And then afterwards, they all beat each other up, and it was Logan who was standing tall at the end. I don't even think she's in the Elimination Chamber. Oh no, she is actually. They all are. I can't even keep up. And then, I can't even do it. I can't even, the 11th of November this started. The 11th of November, that is 4 months. 4 months, essentially. I can't, I'm going down here. I'm just gonna go, goodbye, gonna back out like this, because I'm weird, like a truck, beep, beep.
Hello, WhatCulture. This is Simon's dad, Graham. He wants you to know that it was a spider inside Erick Rowan's cage, and it's too hard to talk about right now. He needs time to process it, especially as it's not clear whether we're meant to think it's a real spider or a fake one. Obviously, though, it gets a brown down. You take care.
I mean, what's happened in the world? What has happened in the world? A fake spider. And how does that make any sense? Because why were people looking at it and being so scared? And what was that red stuff? What was that red stuff that splashed into somebody's face? And also, why did he care when he knocked it down? It's a spider, and it looked like a fake spider, so it doesn't matter if, what's that? Oh, right, sorry, we're back. Hello, Simon Miller, ups and downs. Oh, Kairi Sane versus Shayna Baszler was next. I thought the crowd was quite mean. I didn't really think they were getting into it, but I liked it. Can have an up. And if you are wondering why it wasn't Asuka, because of course she had been heavily advertised for this beforehand, it's because she injured her wrist, so all the best to her. I think the real issue here is that Shayna Baszler is a massive heel, and Kairi Sane is a heel, so the fans are a bit like, well, we don't really know what we're meant to do, so instead we'll just shout mean things. Becky Lynch came out halfway to be on commentary, and I'm a little bit confused about the man character, because even she came across like a little bit of a bad guy here, like she's being super arrogant and super cocky. I don't know, I guess it's fine. And eventually Shayna Baszler caught Kairi Sane in the Kira Fuda clutch. That was it. She tapped out instantly, which was important to get that move over. And yeah, once again, this is all building to the Elimination Chamber match that Shayna Baszler is going to win. So that whole thing is ludicrous. But especially given what I'd seen before this, I was all right with a decent enough women's match. Raw will be better after Sunday though. I can just smell it, I can tell. I'm going to fit everything crossed. It was then Andrade and Angel Garza taking on Rey Mysterio and Humberto Carrillo, and you already know that this was very good. It would be impossible not to be. Rey Mysterio, especially given his age, is just a wonder. Give it up. So it was just 4 huge talents flying around the ring and over the top ropes and doing all this crazy stuff as if in another life they were birds, and I thought it was damn beautiful. Nothing much to say outside of this. They did all the things you'd expect them to do, and the finish was quite exciting as well because Rey Mysterio hit both of his opponents with the 619, but one pinged out the ring, one pinged in the ring, and that was Andrade. He very handedly landed perfectly in the middle of the squared circle, which allowed Carrillo to hit that amazing moonsault. He got the 3 count, and our good guys win. There's probably some match happening on Sunday, and WWE probably told me, but again, they couldn't care less. What a flippin' end to Raw, though. It made all the other nonsense worth it. Actually, no, that's not true, because a spider, is it a fake spider or is it a real spider? I'm not meant to know. I mean, if you're going to have an animal, just have it be a crocodile. Have it be a crocodile. Snap, snap. At least a crocodile would be something different and just something original. But what? Oh, sorry, I did it again. Anyway, it was everything with Randy Orton and Beth Phoenix. And I understand I'm throwing these around at the moment like 24/7 title changes, but I don't care because something good is something good. It doesn't just get an up. It gets a golden up. It began with Beth Phoenix all ready to give us an update to do with Edge, and I presume she was going to say, he is not very well, and I'd have been like, yeah, obviously. I didn't think you were going to come out and say he's dancing around the living room, singing Alter Bridge songs. I saw what happened around about a month ago, but she barely uttered a word when Randy Orton interrupted her. Unlike Erick Rowan too, WWE finally decided to give us an explanation that you could actually sink your teeth into and go, oh my gosh, that is really clever because Randy got on the microphone and he told us a little story. And it was a story that started way back in 1999 when he went backstage at a WW event with his dad, Cowboy Bob Orton. He was just a 19-year-old kid then wanting to break into the business, but in that moment, he was a fan. So he couldn't believe seeing the likes of Stone Cold Steve Austin and The Rock and Triple H, who he called H, which nobody has ever done, and Shawn Michaels, but the person that paid him and his dad the most respect was Edge, who came up, shook their hands, and said to Bob Orton, "Man, you were an inspiration to me, and that's why I'm doing this right now, and young Randy, young Orton, maybe one day we can even have a little bit of a tangle." That gave Orton the confidence to go and live his dreams, and obviously years later he would team with the rated R superstar, and even when his real life, hit rock bottom because he was doing stupid things, it was Adam Copeland who reached out his hand and practically saved the Viper's life. So this is why he did what he did. Without Edge's help, he wouldn't have been the family man that he is today. And he cares about his family, but he also knows that Edge cares about his. So what's going to happen when he does come back into the ring and do match after match and a match before somebody eventually takes him out and somebody injures him? Randy Orton can see into the future. He knew this was going to happen, so he struck before anybody else could. Orton then went proper psycho and said that Beth Phoenix was an enabler because Edge was addicted to the rush and the roar of a crowd, and she was pushing him into it and saying it was okay. And would you do this with an alcoholic? Would you give that person alcoholic drink? Would you do this with a drug addict? No, you wouldn't. But Beth Phoenix, you son of a gun, you have lost your mind, and that's why me, the man who hears voices in his head, has to take some control. At this point, Randy said to Phoenix that he loved her kids more than she did, and that was one step too far, because Beth Phoenix slapped him round the face, she kicked him in his gut, and then he couldn't handle it anymore, so he gave her the RKO. And the funniest bit about that is the fans were going, RKO, RKO, and then he hit the RKO, and they were like, whoops. That was quite bad. But they did all lose their minds, and WWE treated this like Randy had gone off script because we didn't shoot Beth Phoenix laying there foul in the ring. We shot the crowd and then cut to the commentators who did all their sad shtick like, I can't believe what we have just seen. But that is important, and we do have to applaud WWE for that, because let's not forget sometimes Bray Wyatt would essentially kill a legend, and we come back to Michael Cole, he'd be going, hey man, have you heard about Progressive Insurance? It ruins the moment. What's kind of funny, because despite all of this, the production team still showed multiple replays of the RKO, but this whole thing was just money, and this whole thing was just gold, and it works with Randy Orton's character so well, because on the one hand, you're like, I get where you're coming from, Randy, but on the other, you're like, you, my friend, have absolutely lost your brain. So it gives you every reason to hate Randy Orton, and it gives you every reason to love Edge, and I cannot wait until he comes back. And let's definitely give a round of applause to Beth Phoenix and all this too. It wasn't just Randy Orton, it takes two to tango, and they were dancing the night away. So this was just fantastic, it was absolutely brilliant, and goes to show that it's all about that storytelling, it's all about that narrative, it's all about giving me a thread that I can dive into and breaststroke through. It's just flipping great, and if anybody ever says anything bad about Randy Orton again, I'm going to come through that camera and I'll kick your ass. I'll give you an RKO. It was so good that when all was said and done, I was actually excited about the future of WWE, and I guess that's what a main event angle should do. The Elimination Chamber is still the deadest it's ever been, and still it was born, but this is how much I liked it all. There's my spinny arrow. It doesn't deserve this, but it's getting an up. That's right, it's getting an up based on one thing, and that's with the reveal of a spider in the cage. You're going to have to give me a while with that one. Now, don't forget to leave a comment below and let us know what you thought about last night's episode of Raw and the spider in the cage. Like the video, share the video, subscribe to WhatCulture Wrestling. Head over to whatculture.com, read yourself some articles. Follow WhatCulture on Twitter, WhatCulture WWE. Watch more videos here on WhatCulture Wrestling. My name is Sane from WhatCulture. Thank you very much for joining me. I'll see you soon.